What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Social Sig vlog. It's currently Sunday, October 15th, and I am officially back from the East Coast tour and feeling very, very grateful for how it all went. As you may have been keeping up with my Instagram posts and everything, I keep saying, yeah, no hiccups and no major problems the entire way. Some of us did get a little sick, but that only lasted like a day or two. The big part was just like facing a lot of exhaustion of lots of driving on the road and then not getting a lot of sleep, just like sleep schedules like all over the place. But other than that, it was just a really, really awesome time. Sorry, I'm kind of like jumping the gun for that a little bit, but right now I feel like I have a lot of congestion in my head. I feel like I have not fully recovered from this like small sickness I've gotten like towards the end of the tour. But just taking care of my body these last few days. Also, something very new is that Sheila and I are proud foster parents of a little dog named Crab Cake. It's not a full adoption. We're just fostering for a little bit unless we decide to keep him. He's really, really cute. But they are at the park at the moment, so next time maybe I'll introduce you guys to Crab Cake. He's quite a lovely, chill guy, and it's been fun having him here. It's been less than 24 hours, but it's been fun having him. So all right, but yeah, I guess I hadn't vlogged since Fort Wayne, which was like September 29th. I've just been so busy on the road and just really present. I would say a big takeaway from being on the road for me was um, as we just started to get more into a groove of a daily routine, it felt really cool to be like um, waking up every day, looking at my calendar, my schedule spreadsheet, and just basically seeing where we got to drive. I mean, I would look at it the night before so we have an idea of like what time to wake up and stuff. But just driving to the city, getting to the city. If there's time before load in, we kind of just hang out and explore. And then hit load in, meet everybody, and then play a show. And then we definitely got in the really good routine of packing the van up as we didn't have much space at all. And surprisingly, it definitely got a lot easier as tour went on, especially because we would sell more merch. That definitely helped us condense some bigger bins and stuff. Um, but definitely got really good at packing up the van really quick and unpacking really quick. We had these locks that would go in and out of everything that would lock together. So a big fear was definitely just overnight if the van was parked outside on the street. I mean, we had a cover, like a big blanket, and then other blankets to just cover everything. The windows in my van are a little bit tinted, so definitely got really nervous a few times on if the van would get broken into. Thank God it did not, and the tour was very successful that way in that aspect. Some other things that happened, I guess I really liked the shows. I guess every single show we played, I kind of am obligated to say that every show was awesome and that that I guess new people heard us play, new people heard the music. I met more people in every city we went to, and feeling grateful for everyone that housed us, let us crash in their living rooms, and either came to a show. All of it was awesome in every single city, and it was really cool to see the landscape change from city to city, the people change, and just being on the road dogging it. But I was gonna say specifically, I really loved the nights in Fort Wayne at Brass Rail, and then out east when we got to Washington D.C. after Pittsburgh. Washington D.C., New York, and Boston were some of the most fun shows of the entire tour. Specifically just because we did a better job of marketing, and I have more friends personally in these cities that came out to see us. So those shows were absolutely so fun. Also, those Washington, D.C., Philly, and New York were with the band Staring in Spaces from D.C., and I know them through mutual friend because they went to Madison and they I think all of them are from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So really, really cool Wisconsin connection there. But those guys were awesome to be with. Like they're the greatest energy. We had such a big warm welcome in DC, and funniest dudes. So I really, really appreciate the Staring in Spaces guys, especially at that duration or that time of the tour. It felt really cool to keep seeing like a familiar face for 3 shows in a row. And the DC show, the venue was like a block away from their house from where we were staying. And it was a Tuesday night, and they had a bunch of friends come out. So it was a really packed show at Wonderland Ballroom. So that was really, really fun, and a cool experience overall. DC was a cool city too. My buddy Adags, Andrew, from college, he's a DJ and he lives in DC now. So that was really great seeing him as well. We used to be very close in college and then hadn't seen him since COVID. So I feel like my lighting keeps getting darker and lighter, but hadn't seen him since COVID, and it was really, really soul warming to see him and spend the day with him and just catching up and laughing about like old memories and stuff. We went to the Lincoln Memorial, and then also the what was it, Ben's, I think it was, is like a really famous food, like chili, Ben's chili maybe in DC. So that was really, really cool. We met like the owner, and she was like turning 90 years old this month, and lots of history there. So like a really cool diner in DC. I got a burger that was really tasty. What else? So yeah, I kind of wish I did vlog a little bit sooner, because so much has happened since the tour. But I made so many memories with Eli and Aiden, who came along as my band. And we were just squatting it. Like we were just, taking care of each other. I was making sure that Eli got a little sick around Cleveland. And I was feeling really, really good up to that point. I think Cleveland, day number 6, just before, that was a Monday night, so just before being full 7 days on the road, or maybe that was the 7th day on the road, we all just started hitting a wall. Like we all were so tired in Cleveland. And Cleveland was really cool because it reminded me a lot of Milwaukee. Just the people in general, I feel like they remind me a lot of friends back home. The city layout too, and just that the lake was on the north side. But really cool city. And we hung out on like the North Shore or the West Shore, I guess, a little bit. Me and Aiden. Eli was working remotely from home a lot. So it was really cool that he could still do that. And then me and Aiden would usually just like skateboard around and like explore the cities during the day while Eli had to work. So that worked out really well. New York, we spent a lot of time in because Sheila, my girlfriend, met me out. And I feel like a lot of people know who Sheila is at this point, so I'll just say Sheila. But she met us out in New York on that Thursday. And then that Thursday, me and Aiden just walked around and skated around, and just being in New York is just so energizing. There's just so many things to do. And the whole premise of the tour was really around my cousin, Sabrina. Congratulations, Sabrina and Idris, who got married on Friday. So we did the show on Thursday, and a lot of family who was going to the wedding came out on Thursday at the Rockwood Music Hall in East Village, Manhattan. Really, really cool spot. There's like a cool balcony, and it was an awesome venue, and a lot of friends came out too. And then the Staring in Spaces guys were with us as well. And then, yeah, Sabrina came too, which is really cool of her to come out the day before her wedding. So that was really special, and thanks for coming out. It meant a lot. And we rocked the show. And another cool theme of I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but that's just how this vlog is going to be, I guess. But a really cool theme of the tour as well was that starting in Chicago, technically Milwaukee, the tour started off with Aiden and Eli. We did like 2 songs acoustically at the Milwaukee to the City, and it wasn't like a full normal set with the full drum set and everything, and then like a 30-40 minute set. So Chicago was technically the first show. It was a good set, but there was so many things that were like, okay, we need to like sit down and practice a little bit more. So like in Grand Rapids, like the next day we got to the apartment we were staying at. Shout out Jordan for letting us crash in her living room, or her entire apartment, I guess. But we like sat down. We all were practicing. We ran through the set acoustically, and that helped a lot. And then just as the days in the tour progressed, like playing show after show after show after show, it was really cool to feel how much more tight we got as a band, from not even jamming a lot before doing this tour. So that was really, really cool. And by the time, I mean, Grand Rapids felt really good. I'm trying to think specifically like DC. I guess like as the tour went on, we were just like, oh, that was the best one. That was the best set. And then just like as we kept going, the sets just kept getting better and better and more fun. So that was a really cool theme that way. Another theme of the tour was that as like we were going, I mean, it was just like lots of just problem solving on the go, and just like um, kind of as did I mention? Okay, so just problem solving on the way, but there was definitely something going around as far as people getting sick. So let's see. I had a band drop out of um, the Pittsburgh show. There's a band that dropped out because somebody got sick and they couldn't do the show without that person. Somebody dropped out of the New York show because the main guy got sick. Somebody dropped out of the Philly show because the drummer got COVID, and just all of these like just mainly just bands dropping out because something was going around. So I just did a really good job of taking vitamins and drinking a bunch of water. We also had some medicine, like some Dayquil with us that we kept. So um, definitely just like try to take as best care of our bodies as much as possible. Sometimes it's tough when you're cooped up in the car all day. So yeah, that worked out. Um, Another thing, what was I gonna say? Oh, I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but it was really, really cool to feel super present, just personally like present in the day to day, like taking each day by day. And I wasn't really thinking about the future too much, which felt really nice. Um, excuse me. And yeah, I guess like before this tour, I was so focused on this tour and making sure I had all the things in place and just like kind of in my head, just thinking about the future. And then when this tour happened, it was just like, oh shit, like we're rolling now. So it was just like feeling really, really good that way, just living and just being on the road. And I am really proud to say that I felt like I planned this tour really well, just like looking into things ahead of time as far as like what the deal at the door was, asking for the advances for the shows, so we kind of have an idea of how much money we're going to make. And then also the time in between each city that for like the commute that day, just in case that we had to drive like a lot, which I guess the furthest commute really for the big duration of the tour was only from like Pittsburgh to DC, which was like 4 or 5 hours, 4.5, 4:45. And it was a really beautiful drive too from Pittsburgh to DC. It was one of the cooler drives, like going through the mountains and stuff. So that was really beautiful. Um, but yeah, I did a really good job as far as like making sure all the bands were on board. I think, I mean, after like looking back, there's a lot of things I could have done better. As far as like marketing wise, some shows like for example like Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh was the only show where it was like, and it's like 40 minutes out of the city of Pittsburgh was the show on a Monday night. So given the circumstances, everyone at the venue was really cool, and we were all like hanging out and made some really cool friends that night. But pretty sure the bands and the people running the venue were the only people that came to the show. But shout out the Good Vibe Booking / the local 724 studio in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Um, they gave us like $40 cash for the road and just very hospitable and made sure that we got on our way, and they like totally understood the circumstances of like um, yeah, like it's a Monday night and you guys are on the road, so like trying to help you guys out as much as possible. So that was really cool of them. Um, and yeah, just other than that, I think we did like pretty like some people came to each show that I had like had known of us from online. But yeah, after Boston, so we were in New York for a while, and we did the show on Thursday. The wedding was on Friday, which was really fun. It was a smaller venue, and we kind of all just did our own thing that day. And that was the day that I felt pretty exhausted and tired. Um, but I mean, just the whole like adrenaline and the momentum of the tour, I felt like just always kept propelling me forward, which was kind of fun. Um, and just so much adventure, just so much unknown, and just getting so comfortable with the unknown was really fun. And yeah, I just kept thinking like, damn, this feels like living. Like this is awesome. Um, but so the day of the wedding, I felt the most drained, or one of the most drained so far. And the day after the wedding, we drove to Connecticut, in Fairfield, Connecticut, where Aiden has an aunt. And shout out Lori and Michelle for having us. Um, they had the coolest place. It's right outside of New Haven, Connecticut, but the coolest house with like a really awesome garden and all of these little trinkets like in the backyard. And that was like some of the most fun I had. It was just such a welcoming vibe. Like they made us food. Michelle is a cook, so he made us like this really good dinner. And then Ethan, their son, showed us around. Aiden's cousin, and there's a baby Freya who was there, and then her parents, and just like really cool, like day off in just a random city. And they've housed bands before too. I'm pretty sure they said they housed like the guitarist or something of My Morning Jacket was the band. So these people are really cool and very sweet. And then that night, or that day, we went to the beach. It was like pretty rainy that day. And then we went hiking in this park. It reminded me a lot of like some parks back home in West Bend, like Ridge Run or I can't even remember the parks, but yeah, around like the West Bend area, just like kind of hilly with some cool creeks and rivers and stuff. And it was a really cool vibe of just being rainy and just having good conversation. It felt good to be outside, and it was just like very refreshing. And then that night we had some dinner. We took some cozy naps, and we had some charcuterie boards, and just felt very welcomed and very taken care of there. So very grateful for that stop. And it was like the perfect timing of the tour of just being on the road for so long. And did some laundry too. And then after dinner, we played some guitar with Michelle, and we were jamming. And then, yeah, and then that night, we all basically, Ethan had some friends over, and there was this little shed in the backyard by the garden, and we were playing a night game called Murder in the Cabin. And at first, like, everyone was kind of, I love this game. I play it with my cousins, and me and Sheila really like it, and it's always fun to show people. It's basically like Among Us, that game, but in real person, I guess. So um, I'm not gonna explain the game, but basically we're playing night games all night, and it was so fun. And just had a blast. It felt like we were kids again, just running around in the backyard, and really memorable time in Connecticut. And then what else was I gonna say? Yeah, and then drop the boys off after the Boston show. Even Boston, I felt pretty drained out. Just like I think I just need like a few like 2 days in a row off. Even though I did New York to Boston or Connecticut, I just we were just always on the go with the wedding and everything. So definitely kind of noting that for next time to put some like longer maybe like 2 days of just like doing nothing. And oh, one thing I wanted to say too is that my voice held up for the entire tour. Um, Up until like Boston, I would say I've definitely felt like a little bit weaker in my vocal cords. So, um, but other than that, yeah, it felt really, really solid. And then the solo sets that I did, I could definitely feel it on some songs where I have to like get a higher kind of, uh, I guess, higher pitch. But yeah, I was really proud that my voice held up. I was drinking lots of water and tea when I could. And then, yeah, did solo, dropped the boys off at JFK on Monday. And then Sheila and I went to Pittsburgh, uh, Cincinnati, where I met my friend Time, and she showed us around. Played Cincinnati, Louisville, and then did Chicago. So I feel like that whole stretch of like when it was just me and Sheila and doing solo sets, like the time, just like it felt like everything was going so fast. Like everything was so slow in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, like, holy shit, we're in Chicago, and it just felt like everything, the days are just going by so fast, and I was like, dang, I feel like I want to slow down and like really reflect. And after around that time too, I felt very much like I didn't have any time to process a lot of like the shows and stuff, and I was keeping a journal for the most part, like all the way through. So I'm really glad that I kept this and did like day by day um, of each city. So that was really cool, and just wrote down everyone I met, like the venues, what I was feeling, like how healthy I felt. So um, really glad I kept notes on that. And yeah, overall, I had the time of my life. And I'm looking forward to doing it again, I guess. So, yeah, this is definitely the longest vlog I think I've ever done. But yeah, lots to unpack. And just felt very good about it all. And coming back, very motivated to start writing some more music. And seeing so many bands night after night was really inspiring as well. So many different characters and people on the road, and lots of new friends. So, yeah, excited to do it again, and excited to do it better. And definitely really taking in these days and looking forward to the days when we were a little bit more comfortable on the road, as far as like having maybe a nice Sprinter van and maybe bringing a dog on the road, and just always adapting and getting better, I think is a goal of mine, especially when it comes to doing these shows on the road. Um, and maybe one day we'll have a tour bus and everything too. So, and doing this on the road. So it feels really cool to kind of dive into these cities for a night and then dip out, and then just kind of have a cool idea of like the cities and the people there in the city. And feeling like every time I think of a city that we were in now, I can like picture these people like there living their day-to-day lives. So yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of you guys, and that was really, really fun, and excited to expand and grow this like community around Social Sig, and try to do it the best I can. And yeah, lots to look forward to still, as always. And working on some new music, trying to release a song in November. And then also planning a solo tour down south this winter, and doing some more shows, blah, 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 hosting an open mic tomorrow at Bremen. And I have lots to catch up on as far as like doing my ledger, and just doing all the final finances of this tour. I tried to break even, but New York was pretty darn expensive. So I think dipping into my personal for some like Ubers and food in New York definitely might have to happen, but I guess we'll see. Um, but yeah, it's came pretty darn close though, as far as breaking even, and I still haven't like done it fully. So maybe we did, and yeah, it felt really cool too, being on the road, like traveling and using music as a vehicle for traveling, um, and like being paid for it in a way too, like where the tour kind of makes up for the gas and the food and people letting us crash in their living room. So I don't know, just so much adventure, and I'm so happy that it went smoothly. And shout out Aiden and Eli. Those are my dudes, and we got so close during this tour. And yeah, really, really grateful for it all. And I'll definitely remember this first tour for the rest of my life. And yeah, I guess we'll keep her moving. And as always, thank you so much for listening to these vlogs and supporting Social Sig overall. And it feels very surreal to be at the time now where like I'm doing this. I already did this East Coast tour. If you go to Social Sig vlog number 1, this was like in 2020, 2021, and I basically pitch out to a band where or anyone out in the void where it's like, if you want to bring me along an East Coast run, I'm available. And that was like 2 years ago. So I don't know. It's just like kind of a full circle moment where just kind of made it happen for myself, and I'm glad it did happen. And thank you for your support along the way. And keeping her moving. All right, I'm gonna stop rambling. Subscribe to the Social Sig Patreon if you're able to do so. Otherwise, stay tuned for some new music and also more shows. And I love you guys all so much. Appreciate you guys, and have a great rest of your October. Happy Halloween. See you soon. Bye.